Mark, and that is, if you want to succeed, you have to learn to hire people who know more about you on the subjects that you don't know.
Right.
So A, you need to hire smart people who know more than you.
Right.
B, you need to trust them.
Hi everyone, this is Mark Nicolas with the Think Wealth Differently community. I'm here with a friend, trader students that is part of our other community, the Day Trading Zone. George is a very successful person, friend, and I want him to share some of his nuggets of wisdom in terms of running companies, trading, and life in general. So George, tell us a little bit about yourself quickly before we go through our usual questions.
Okay, well, I was born and bred in South Africa, married, had all my children, 3 of them, 2 girls and a boy, in South Africa, moved to the States in 1986 to Los Angeles, where we were there for 8 years, 7 years in Cincinnati, and now nearly 18 years in Delray Beach, Florida. And along the way, learned a lot about life, building and selling companies, and building and having a family close by that you can enjoy.
Awesome. So next question, the transition. You are very successful, and what is the definition for you of true wealth? What is wealth for you? When I ask you about a quick definition on wealth.
Well, for me, wealth has nothing to do with money. Of course, money is a great thing to have to enable you to do some of the things you want, but for me, it's the ability to enjoy the richness of life with a family that you love and that you care for, and who return that love and share, and that you can take joy from on a daily basis.
That's awesome. A couple of things. When you run company and you bought and sold companies, and even now, do you have one or many daily routines that you do that sets you up for success?
Well, I think number one, I only do things that I'm passionate about. I learned in life that if you don't have a belief and don't have a passion about what you're doing, you're not going to be successful, because the routine means you have to be willing to put in the time, the effort, the preparation,
right,
the blood and the sweat, and you virtually have to live it day and night.
Right.
You get to a point, hopefully, where you develop processes and people that work with you, where you can enjoy your time and delegate and designate people to carry out the work, but you still always have to love what you're doing, plan, monitor it every day, and then enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so is there any lessons that can help everybody here listening about planning? What have you learned in life about planning and setting goals and execution?
Well, I think what we learned is we used to follow a really interesting guy by the name of Corey Rudel, who passed away many years ago. He was a marketing guru, and he said something interesting which we found we've always followed, which is his 70% rule. Plan to get 70% of the way very well, achieve that 70%, and then work on the rest of the 20% later. And it's 20% and not 30%, because you're never 100% there. So plan your way bit by bit, set goals, measure them, and that's the key. If you have a goal or objective, you have to measure it. If you don't measure against that objective, you don't know how you're doing.
So how do you measure goals? Do you measure them daily, weekly, monthly? What's your thing?
Well, I think it depends on the process. You know, the big goals, the financial goals,
Right.
You probably measure those weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually.
Right.
In terms of projects, they are usually daily goals,
Right.
weekly goals, monthly goals. But you have to, depending on the size of the task and where it fits in the chain of things, you have to measure it regularly in accordance with what it demands.
Right. When were you setting your goals? The day before, the night before, the weekend before? I mean, I talked to many entrepreneurs this weekend. Everybody's different when it comes to goal setting.
You know, when it came to setting up our businesses, I must say that we spent a lot of time building a long-term plan, usually a 1-year plan firm,
Right.
a 3-year plan with a little more latitude, and then long-term goals in a more esoteric and generic sense. But we've always planned our businesses, and I've got to say that we set goals, objectives in terms of revenues, growth, staffing, and ultimate growth plan regularly.
You and I are in Delray Beach right now. I'm catching up from the Orlando conference, and you mentioned something at the dinner that one of your company, you had about what, 40 employees?
30 employees, yeah.
30 employees. Any advice for young entrepreneurs or watching this video about hiring the right people? I mean, this is like such a tough one.
It is a tough one, but I'll tell you what I learned through all my years, Mark, and that is, if you want to succeed, you have to learn to hire people who know more about you on the subjects that you don't know.
Right.
So A, you need to hire smart people who know more than you.
Right.
B, you need to trust them, because if you don't hire somebody you trust, then they're not going to work for you.
Warren Buffett says that if you hire smart people but they are not loyal, that's the kiss of death.
Well, yeah, that's true, but you can generate that loyalty by how you treat them.
Right.
So I think what we as a family and I as an entrepreneur learned was hire people who know what they're doing and know more than you.
Right.
Help them to set goals, but don't micromanage them.
Right.
Set objectives. Don't watch over them minute by minute, hour by hour. Give them the latitude to do their job and to fail from time to time, as long as they learn by it. Set goals, measure, and always give them some skin in it. I'm proud of the last company we had, Native Remedies. If you interviewed every one of our employees, they would have told you it was probably the best place they ever worked.
Well, how did you make that place such? I mean, what was the steps that you guys did to make it a cool place to work?
Well, number one, we let everybody set their own goals with their manager. We made them feel proud of the job. We gave profit share on every month. Everybody shared in the profits of the company.
Right. So everybody had a percentage of the profits?
Everybody had a percentage of the profits. They got reviewed every month and every quarter, and their bonuses and profit share depended on their own. They did a self-assessment.
So everybody, even the guy who packed the remedies,
100%. Everybody. And they did their own self-review, and then their manager reviewed them, and then they were recommended for a percentage of the profit share.
Wow.
And everybody enjoyed that process because they all felt they learned, they were in charge of their own performance.
Right.
We gave them flexible time. They could come to work casual. We didn't micromanage their time. If somebody did their job and they needed time off, nobody asked a question.
Right.
As long as they got the job done. And people learned that if they had to stay there 10, 12 hours in a day, they did it of their own accord, not because we told them they had to.
Right. And if they have to leave at 12 o'clock because they have to attend
no
their
questions
kids,
asked.
You didn't care about
No
that.
questions asked.
Wow, okay, interesting. What about selling and buying businesses? That was interesting to me at dinner. What are some of the important lessons that you've learned about selling businesses?
That's a really good question. I think in looking at selling a business, in my experience, the best return you're going to get on that business is by selling to somebody as a strategic buyer rather than an equity buyer, a cold equity person, especially if you're a small entrepreneur. If you're building large organizations and you want to sell to a private equity firm or take it public, that's one thing. But if you have a small company in the $5 to $10 to $15 million revenue range, the best payback's going to come from selling to somebody who's in the same arena as you, who has a strategic reason to partner with you and take what you've built and leverage that with their business.
I spoke to someone today. He said, look at your competitions. They are your best pool of buyers.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it was interesting to me. Another question. Let's say you are a young entrepreneur, someone that is stuck at a certain level right now, $40,000, $50,000, whatever, like at a level that you are not satisfied with, and you want to 10x that. So you have a strong desire to succeed, but you're not able to really go through the work. What would you advise someone to be, let's say someone at $40,000 to 10x their income as fast as possible? If it was your son, what would you tell your son to do in life to 10x his income?
Well, I tell him to find something he really, really is passionate about, and to have that passion to the extent that while he's earning his $40,000, he can take the time to, outside of those hours, put the extra effort in to build something that he can work on from home, generate something that he can start up, grow to the point where he can give up his $40,000 job and make it full time. But it's all about passion and energy and time put in.
So are you saying someone should monetize their passions and find a way to monetize their passion, even if they have a job, like start a business, something.
Absolutely. You know, I have never successfully built and done well at something that I'm not passionate about. There have been the odd occasions when I've tried something because I thought it would be cool, but I'll tell you, the businesses that have been successful for me are the ones that I loved, that I really felt that
Steve Jobs said that, and not only did he say that, but he said that being an entrepreneur is so hard. There'll be hard moments, like it's not all rosy every day. Even if you do something you are passionate about, there's tough moments. So you got to be passionate to overcome those tough moments in that journey of being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Nothing goes as planned. You asked about planning earlier.
Right. Planning is everything. Like to me, when I talk to the people today and this week, it's like, okay, we can all have ideas, but execution is everything.
Well, you know, the trading is exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've enjoyed the DTZ community because the one thing that I got from that was to spend that hour to hour and a half before the market opens, really and truly looking at the instruments you want, using the tools, which are fantastic, by the way, planning it out, and knowing which 2 or 3 to focus on, and knowing what trades you're going to make during the day.
So let me catch up for the viewer. George, not only is an entrepreneur, but he also is part of my other company, Day Trading Zones. It's a community of traders and retail traders and institutions where we make research and analysis for traders. And George, last year, was a trader in our community that made 66% return on his money. How much money did you make on your portfolio margin account?
Dollar terms?
Yes.
$260,000.
260,000. But a couple of things so that we are straight. He had portfolio margin, so it gives him a little bit more leverage in terms of return on investment. And the Think Wealth Differently community here, it's to make you think. Sorry guys, I'm shaking. I don't even have my tripod. I'm like, it's becoming.
It's hard.
It's hard to keep it still. It's the fact that he sells premium out of the money. So let's say you have a stock at 250, you have an Apple stock at 250 or 200, whatever it is. He's doing a strategy called the credit spread, or selling income way above that 200 current price or way below, and he's collecting income. How far away do you do those credit spread and those income plays?
Those are typically 30 to 45 days out. I'll also do some 17 days out if the premiums are right. But yeah, I'm trying to be 30 to 45 days out, far out of the money, where if people know the term delta from the Greeks, the delta's around the 10, 11, 12 level. So you got a 90%.
So to give you an idea, delta 10, 11 means the reverse. So the reverse means he's taking trades with 90 to 89% chance of success.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And they're not huge premiums, but they're consistent. And if you can win in 9 out of 10 trades and avoid a big loss on that one that you lose on, it grows.
So you have to understand, like in that Think Wealth Differently, he's not day trading in and out of stocks. He's not churning commissions. He's not trading at the current price where he has only a 50% chance of success. He's trading strategies that have 68 to 95% chance of success, and he's trying to consistently make them repeat with small profits, singles and doubles. They compounded over time, guys. You make a lot of money in a safer way than just day trading or gambling. Yeah. Correct?
That's absolutely true. But I'll also say this.
Okay, tell me.
That I'll say that having the zones, the pro tools, even the daily zones that you give was very helpful. But using the pro tools and understanding the support, the resistance, the retracement points, has been immensely helpful.
What did that do for you? That gave you what, a blueprint? I mean, how did that help you in terms of your strategy?
I would tell you my success rate in picking the spots, what I thought was safe and far out of the money, and at the right time. Learning the trade setup and the trade timing was a huge breaker for me, because the premiums got better. Instead of doing 30 cent premiums, I could do 50, 60, 70 cent premiums, which is almost double the premiums. For the same trade, the same delta trade, but at a better time. So I've learned where those safe areas are.
Awesome. Last but not least, you look at your life, you're a father, a grandfather right now. George, 20 years ago, and George now in your life, as far as the man that you are, the entrepreneur that you are, how do you see your life? I mean, how different are you from the younger you?
Well, I think I was thinking about that, and I think the one thing I would have said 20 years ago was, boy, if only I could have gone back to this point and redone something. But I'm at a point in my life where I think on a personal level, I've come to the realization that I've done okay, not from the financial point of view. I mean, yeah,
Right.
I've done okay with that.
Right.
But I've done nicely in terms of having a great and beautiful wife, a family, friends. I'm in a place that I enjoy. And I don't think I'd want to go back and revisit or retry any day, because I think I am where I am because of everything that happened to me cumulative along the way. So I think that realization hits me today that I didn't feel like in days gone by.
So like a peace, like you're at peace.
I am. I feel like if, heaven forbid, I were to die today, I would still say that would be okay, because I've accomplished what I wanted out of what I wanted for myself.
They say in France, they say you had a good run.
I had a good run. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time, George. You know, I greatly and immensely appreciate what you do and the way you contribute positively in our communities in general. You take care, everybody. Hope it was helpful.
Thanks, Mark. I've enjoyed meeting you down here in Delray. Thanks a lot.
Me too. Take care.